So for those of you guys that saw have been watching the Road to the Pros series, you know that I just did a video, episode 6, I just did a video in Starbucks where I was just sitting, you can kind of see it, if you look at that window back there, I was sitting back by that window and I was just straight up just baking in the sun, man. So this seat opened up over here after I got done with that video. So I'm like, yeah, I'm about to bounce over to that seat before we do this video. But anyway, let's get right into it. I'm still at Starbucks. How do you adjust your fat loss diet? So I think that this is more important than setting up your fat loss diet. So here's the first thing. If you are losing 0.5% to 1% of body weight per week, do not do anything. Do not change a single thing, right? What you are doing is working. What you are doing is giving you results. And I would argue the results that you want. You don't want to shoot for more than 1% per week, because if you do that, you put yourself at risk of losing muscle, which is something that none of us want. So that's the first step. The second step, all right, what if that has stalled? What if you are now in a situation where your weight loss has stalled for a week or 2 weeks? What do you do now? Well, here's where you have to start to get strategic. And what I would argue you want to do is map out, how many carbs and fats you have to cut to get you down to 10 times your body weight in calories or 9 times your body weight in calories at an absolute minimum. So that'll kind of give you kind of a framework for how far you can cut, right? You want to kind of build out a roadmap in your mind, on paper, in a spreadsheet, whatever the case may be. So now that you have that roadmap built, what you want to do now is I would map out like even increments from where you are now to that 9 or 10 times your body weight level. And I would do it in even increments. You don't have to do it this way, but I would do it in even increments just to make things really, really simple. And I would give yourself at least 3 or 4 cuts. So for example, let's say you're at 200 carbs right now and 75 grams of fat, just to say, right? And let's say that the 9 times level or the 10 times level would be 100 carbs and 55 grams of fat, right? I'm just pulling these numbers out of thin air. I mean, you can work out your own math. That gives you 100 carbs to cut and 25 grams of fat. So maybe you have 5 cuts. Each cut is 20 carbs and 5 fat. So that's really clean. It's really simple. It's really easy. It is, they're nice round numbers, all that stuff, right? And so I think psychologically, you'll go into this thing with 5 bullets, right, in your holster, and you are ready to go. Make that first cut. So now I guess this is step 3. You make the first cut, and then you quickly move on to step 4, which is you need to give that new level time to work. So I would give it at least a week. 2 weeks would be better, but a week is enough. If you find yourself back in a situation where you're losing 0.5% to 1%, then don't change anything, right? You want to be patient. You want to do things gradually. You want to leave yourself room to cut. You want to leave yourself opportunities to cut, because you're going to need those opportunities. If you've got 20 or 30 or 40 pounds to lose, right, you're going to stall, you're going to plateau. And when you do, you're going to be glad that you have these carbs and these fats, kind of in your back pocket that you can cut. And so that's it, man. That's all there is to it. That is how you adjust your fat loss diet, right? Now you can take it with the specifics and you can play around with what that might specifically look like for you in your situation. But if you follow that blueprint, if you kind of follow that foundation that I laid out for you guys, you will get to wherever you're trying to go. So that's it, man. That's how you adjust your fat loss diet. We're going to loop back around in part number 3, and I'm going to talk about, how do you diet after you diet? So how do you come off of your diet? And this is where I think 99 out of 100 people fail. Myself included, more times than I care to admit. Like early on in my career, I failed at this mightily, right? But this is why I think we as a nation, we don't really have a problem losing weight. We have a big problem keeping weight off. And I think it's because nobody is thinking strategically about the other side of the diet, and that's what I want to talk about. And so in the meantime, man, if you guys want to hit me up on social media, I'm at JSchultzF30 pretty much across the board, except for Snapchat. I am not on Snapchat yet because I am only one man, and there are only 24 hours in the day. And so Once they create that 25th hour, I'm going to allocate that to Snapchat. But YouTube, you can hit me up on YouTube, obviously, which is where you're probably watching this video. So subscribe to the channel. Hey, check out my new podcast that I just launched. We're having a lot of fun with that. Fitness, finance, faith. We're talking about all kinds of things. And, it's a little more raw, actually. I mean, I try to make these videos pretty raw, but the podcast is even more raw than that, because I want it to be just real, just, unfiltered, just my thoughts on whatever the subject might be. And so check it out. Maybe you'll get some value from that. And yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys. So God bless you, God bless yours, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.